Welcome to Akamai Online. Cyber threats are constantly emerging, and our assets are always under attack. But situational awareness, in combination with protective measures, can significantly boost safeguards to reduce our risk and minimize potential losses. In this video, we will begin to analyze assets we possess and methods of incorporating physical security measures to minimize the risk of data loss in the event of theft or damage. For those who are joining us for the first time, understanding our assets is an essential starting point in gaining control of our data and digital presence. Digital assets includes data, but also all of the devices we use to access and store data. This may be things like computers, smartphones, tablets, and any other smart devices that serve as a gateway to the digital world and accessing our information. Physical security is a key consideration when managing digital assets because the amount of information or data we catalog and store on our devices. If we think about it, just our smartphone contains all of our contacts, possibly access to our email and our social media accounts, photos, and videos, just to name a few. The increasing mobility of our technology and our personal information poses great threat to security and data protection. We should continuously ask ourselves, what would happen if someone else got a hold of this device? And we must always be mindful of where, when, how, and why we use devices, with consideration of how our data is stored on them. The goal of securing our devices and data is to ensure our assets are not accessible to unauthorized individuals. Protecting assets through physical security requires three main components: oversight, access controls, and data protection. If we break these three components out, oversight is the assurances that any of your devices are properly secured, even when not within physical reach or proximity. The goal of oversight is that we both know where our devices are located and that we are never leaving devices unattended and unsecured in spaces that would allow for unauthorized access. Access controls are barriers intended to prevent unauthorized access and physical control of any device or its information. The goal of access controls are to restrict access to only those that should have access to the device and or the data it contains. This may look like using locks, like simple key locks on doors or cabinets, but can incorporate more sophisticated methods like biometric scanners or access cards. Data protection is the prevention of unauthorized users' ability to gain access to data stored on devices or the accounts a device may be associated with. The goal of data protection is to create safeguards against loss or exploitation if a device itself were to fall into the hands of a malicious actor. This is done by preventing access to the device's information, such that even if an unauthorized user gains physical control of the device, they are limited to malicious actions primarily concerning the device itself, but not necessarily the information on or within. Data protection may be implemented through tools such as data encrypting or remote device clearing and logouts. But this may also be use of passwords or PINs. And yes, even for data and documents, passwords and PINs should be applied to incorporate length, complexity, and randomization. We have discussed passwords, but best practices for PIN numbers is that they are at least 6 characters long, a random sequence, and complex in that numbers are non-repeating. Sorry to say, 111111 is not a very secure PIN, despite being one of the most widely used. Now, all three of these components must come together if we are to optimize physical security and must be applied to each and every one of our devices. These concepts, again, are oversight, access control, and data protection. These concepts are so important because most people utilize more than one smart device or device that connects them to the internet on a recurring basis. And many of these devices are portable, making our data mobile. We can access a lot of our information online, so as long as we have access to the internet, everything from photos to bank account balances. We must be aware of how many devices we use, what data is stored on them, and what could be compromised in the event the device is lost or stolen. We encourage you to take a complete inventory of all the devices you have, and don't forget all those USB flash storage drives or external hard drives, smart devices, and even that old laptop collecting dust in your closet. Download our Asset Manager Tool Guide to help you get started. Keep this tool handy for future videos where we help you gain control of your digital presence. Until then, don't forget to properly secure this information and begin to apply concepts of physical security to your everyday life as you become more Akamai online.